Hi, I'm Ray Kincaid, and this is Kristen Leininger with Meta-Physiques Personal Training Studio here in Brandon, Florida. And in today's episode, I want to show you how you can use your Bosu ball as a Pilates barrel. And I used to have a Pilates barrel, and I no longer have it, and so I kind of developed a method to use on the Bosu ball, which I actually prefer over the Pilates barrel itself. So for this series of exercises, I've got Kristen here on the ball, and she's seated directly on top. That's going to give you the best positioning for when you go to roll back and get into the position of this, because it'll place the ball where it needs to be between the glutes and the back. And she did a fairly good job. I'm going to have you pull those legs back just a little bit though, Kristen, and bring the ball snug under there just a little bit more. Because sometimes you'll need to kind of feel where that is, and you can just take your hands and kind of guide the ball up tighter under your back. So first off the bat, this gives us a lot of great support in the lumbar region and in the lower back when we're doing leg raises and lower abdominal moves. We looked at that in some of our previous episodes about how a little bit of padding under that area can help alleviate some spinal pressure and some pressure on the lower back. So we're going to start out with some leg raises here. And again, this is a principle we looked at as well, where the toes are pulled back here at the back end. On the forward end, they're pointed. And what that does is it helps elongate the hamstrings a little bit, so you bring in a little bit of that flexibility into your lower abdominal training. This isn't a real intense move for the abs. It actually feels kind of good. It's a good lower back stress reliever, believe it or not. And as she goes, she's going to get just a little bit looser in this series. The breathing is an inhale here, and an exhale as we pull back. And keep in mind, everything I'm showing you on this, I am not classically Pilates trained. I kind of have taken Pilates principles and used them in my own way. So those of you that may be schooled in classical Pilates may be, what's he doing? But these are some of my own methods kind of intertwined with some Pilates principles. Again, exhaling here, she pulls them back. Inhaling forward, pointed toes, and those toes pulled back to elongate and stretch those hamstrings. Now sometimes what really helps when using a partner on this exercise is when she brings them back and she starts getting a little bit looser, I can help spot her and give her a little bit extra stretch out of that by pulling the body from the ball just a little bit here and enhancing that hamstring stretch. Bringing the toes back, and I've kind of blocked just above the knee on the thigh there to help enhance that hamstring stretch. So every time she pulls back, I'm going to kind of assist in that. Exhale, evacuating those lungs. And depending on your flexibility and your range of motion on this move, you may possibly be able to go all the way down, toes touching the floor eventually on the move. A lot of the comfort level of these exercises depends on how your spine is shaped as well. If you've got a very flat back, a very straight spine, these aren't as easy as if you're a little more rounded. So you want to keep those things in mind as well. We're going to go through one more of these right here. She's good and loose. Inhale and an exhale. And we're going to come back to this point right here where there's some contact. She's back onto the ball. I'm going to keep this leg in place. I'm going to help her keep this leg in place, but you can also do this on your own. And we're going to start with this leg, working a nice leg circle around. Now as she comes around here, you want to really pull the toe back here and then point as it comes around. So you're again changing the direction of ankle flexion here. And I'm helping keeping this leg solid, and we want to try to keep this leg fairly straight, not too much slack in that. That's number 4 right there. And there's 5, and let's reverse it now. We're going to go down, point that toe, bringing it around. So what we're doing here is we're really getting into the hip flexors, the elongating. That's on the very top of the thigh, up in this area here, really opening that up, getting the cobwebs out of those hip sockets themselves. And also getting into the abdomen quite a bit. How many we got here? 4, I think. All right, one more time. Just 5. Good. Let's do it on the other side here. You may find that when you're doing the exercise, you may be slipping off the ball just a little bit. So if that happens, just kind of take it and snug it back up under your back there. And that's a lot of preference too. You may want more or less support from the ball. You can kind of change your angle of where it supports by pulling it to the front. Is that 3? Counting and talking never work together. Good. And then to come out of that series, you're just going to hold that right there. We'll push that ball away and very carefully lowering it down right there. I used a lot of abdominal control there to come out. And that concludes the segment on using the Bosu balance ball as a Pilates barrel. I'm Ray Kincaid, and this is Kristen Leininger with Meta-Physiques Personal Training. And we'll look forward to seeing you again in the next episode. Remember, if you have any questions about anything you see in any of our episodes, just shoot us a question. It's brandonpersonaltraining.com. And we'll be happy to get back in touch with you. We'll see you next time.